Genesis, not Gemini, has filed for bankruptcy. John, the acting CEO of FTX, has basically said he's not opposed to firing FTX back up. Then we have SBF on the other side of that saying do it, especially because FTX US is and has always been solvent. Well, there's a lot of people impaired in this recent bankruptcy. As always, Bitcoin mining has taken a turn for the better and worse. We got a lot of crazy stuff to unpack here today. My name is Drew Vosk. You're on the Voskcoin YouTube channel. I'll be your host today. And yeah, let's dig into it. It's some fun lighter news. We've got our first pod container mining farm out on the Voskcoin mining farm, and actually the final wiring for that will hopefully be completed today. My electrician is inside of it as I record this video, and once I finish this, I'm heading right over there to meet with him and get it figured out. FTX CEO John Ray is considering to restart FTX. This is true. It's not as bullish as it sounds necessarily, and not that like restarting FTX is a bullish thing, but it would provide an opportunity maybe to heal, make some money. You know, it's a very convoluted situation. Obviously, the whole FTX scam and debacle is just exactly that. We've talked about it before. A lot of other people have talked about it. Interesting newsworthy note is that FTT, the FTX token, pumped 29% on that news. Will this happen? I want to say I don't think so, but at least, you know, it's being talked about. All options should be talked about to kind of just keep that one simple. Genesis's crypto lending business files for bankruptcy protection. Final straw for Genesis was the FTX collapse at the end of 2022. They've had their back and forth, and it seems to be specifically that they've lost the money of Gemini Earn users, which is just devastating. So in its filing, Genesis Global Capital, partner firm to Gemini's defunct Earn program, estimated more than 100,000 creditors between $1 billion and $10 billion in liabilities as well as assets. Genesis also owes over $3.5 billion to its top 50 creditors, including Gemini, trading giant Cumberland, Marana, Moon Alpha Finance, and Vonex New Finance Income Fund, according to this bankruptcy document. The Winklevoss twins, the Winklevi, have been going back and forth with Barry Silbert, also known as Silly Billy or Barry Silbert, who basically helms DCG, Digital Currency Group, and also pretty much leads Genesis Trading. The Winklevi have been much more transparent and forthcoming in this whole endeavor. I try not to be biased, but I've clearly taken their side because, you know, they've been trying to communicate and at least have regularly scheduled updates, even if there's nothing to really update. Whereas Barry Silbert has just kind of been like ignoring it. Like he's reflecting on the last year, and then he didn't post for a couple weeks. It's really a couple months, really. When you take out the retweets and the nonsense, it's very just suspect behavior. I think that he is just doing everything he can to enrich himself at the expense of others, especially in this dire situation. That's my kind of quick gist and takeaway. But to take it from Cameron Winklevoss's words here in this tweet storm, he's talking about working around the clock to negotiate an acceptable solution with Barry Silbert and DCG Co., the parent company of Genesis. They refused to offer Gemini a fair deal for its creditors. Good news, protection, bankruptcy court, judicial oversight, basically be forced to be transparent and figure out something. Genesis and the Winklevi are preparing to take direct legal action against Barry, DCG, and others who have responsibility for the fraud that caused harm to 340,000 plus Earn users and others duped by Genesis and its accomplices. Unless Barry and DCG come to their senses, make a fair offer, they're going to file a lawsuit imminently. They want to use every tool available in the bankruptcy court to maximize recovery for Earn users. They also believe, in addition to owing creditors for all their money back, Genesis, DCG, and Barry owes them an explanation. Bankruptcy court provides a much needed forum for that to happen. As always, it's a sobering reminder that we need to custody our own coins. I've been severely burned in this whole FTX implosion and contagion and all of the companies going belly up with that, I've learned the most expensive and devastating financially lessons of my life through this, among many others. It's not a time to make fun of people or, you know, say I told you so or whatever. I mean, this sucks for a lot of people. We're talking savings, we're talking all those people's potential gains and whatever, and maybe you shouldn't have all been there and been in one place. Well, yeah, obviously I guess so, that's true, but a lot of us still made that mistake with substantial sums. It is what it is, and at this point everybody just wants their money back. How do we get there? That's what we're trying to figure out. A little bit of speculation, right? The Winklevoss twins have a lot of money. Gemini has been working on their transparency, and they have their transparency page, as you can see here, and they list all their data and coins, collateral, and all that stuff, so they say, but it's all in-house, no third-party audits, no on-chain verification, so it's definitely better than nothing, but it's not good enough. Not good enough! Apparently their crypto exchange is doing fine, but the Earn is what is in shambles. Could they step up and make people whole? Do they have the funds for that? Or will they be able to kind of get that kind of investment? Maybe, but that's not going to be their first step. They want to get their money back from basically the person who owes them the money. Depending on how that goes, maybe they'd step in at the end to kind of fill the gap and make people whole. Maybe they wouldn't, and they're going to throw those terms in your face. Maybe they're not the good guys they parade as. To be honest, time will tell. So, looking at, again, a little bit deeper, some of these recognizable names of the Genesis creditors in this bankruptcy and how this fallout contagion will impact others, right? So, obviously Gemini, which we pretty much have fleshed out at this point. Marana, it's not the Dota 2 hero who was ripped from Dota, specifically the Priestess of the Moon, Potom. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. But Marana, basically 150 million exposure related to Bybit. Bybit was also hit with FTX contagion. Same with my understanding of Coincident Cap and Moon Alpha. So Moon Alpha, Babel Finance, 150 million. Not a small sum by any means. Mex and Finex leaderboarders here is kind of how they come into the equation. Decentraland, Vonek, Abra, Cumberland, and Stellar Foundation are also the other notable names. Osaka Trade pulled over here, as well as Donut App. Fun name in a not very fun situation. TLDR with this, be advised, get away from those things. They're in trouble. If you're in anything related to them, you're also in trouble. There you go. The Bybit CEO offers clarity on this exposure, but the community demands more. Says that Marana is the investment arm of Bybit, and this is all based off of this tweet that we just read. It's funny like how Twitter has brought so much transparency and accountability to the cryptocurrency sector. Marana only manages some of the Bybit's company assets, client fund is separated, and Bybit Earn product doesn't use Marana. Reported 151 million, has about 120 million of collateralized positions, which Marana already liquidated. Interesting, so basically not that big of exposure per Ben Zhao here. But on the other hand, Dion's like, yeah, we're fine. Our users are totally nothing to worry about. Though you have an Earn program, it didn't disclose how the yield was generated. Are you dealing with an FTX Alameda kind of relationship or nah? Because me and everyone else in crypto got serious trust problems now. And I just hope we all can recover from it, because how many times have we seen everything's fine, and then like the next day, Everything Fine Incorporated has filed for bankruptcy. Recently we got into contact, sneaky spoiler here, with CleanSpark, which is pretty cool. I don't know where things are gonna go, but I'd love to get a mining farm tour on the books with them, because they're rapidly expanding. They're in Georgia, just a couple states down from me here on the east coast of the United States of America. And while some Bitcoin miners are declaring bankruptcy, CleanSpark, who are publicly traded, are breaking ground, expanding, building, and it's cool to see. There's a lot of pros and cons to major mining farms, but hey, just seeing build outs, positive things instead of another company going bankrupt in a way is just kind of refreshing. That's all I really have on that one. How does mining look today though? A lot of altcoin miners are still insanely profitable. But what you'll notice is there's no Bitcoin miners topping this ASIC miner profitability list, which is an application-specific integrated circuit miner. Sure, there are profitable altcoin miners that aren't ASIC miners, which are like these big custom computers, right? Like the Evergreen miners. We talked about them, use our link, get a discount. I'm making 60 bucks a month with mine. Cool, yes, awesome, exciting. But what about BTC? When we look at the insights, profitability, calculator numbers, whatever chart here on Brains, slush pool, division, OG mining pool, stuff like that, right? We look at the top Bitcoin miners and ones listed here. You need 10 cents per kilowatt hour electricity rate pretty much just to break even still. And if you have the S19 XP, then you could go up to 14 cents to break even. It's difficult times. Even though Bitcoin has rebounded some in price, on that news, look at these charts. Bitcoin mining difficulty hit a new all-time high in pretty crappy macro conditions, in pretty crappy market conditions. It's 2.63% higher than the previous high. Mining a Bitcoin is more difficult than it has ever been before. Crazy. And the Bitcoin halving is coming up. We're not all that far away. So to close out this video with something fun, we don't have just something cute, which is gonna be Tails, our CNO, our chief news officer, and the Lord of Voskcoin, and I don't know, all the cool titles we can give her. But there's actually another fun fact, random thing is just, or just, I don't know if it's fun, it's actually kind of traumatizing for all of us actually in crypto. But there are so many FTX films and TV series related to all these events in production. It's gonna be crazy. And we're all, you know, DeFi, crypto degens. You know we're gonna want to peek at these and see how the industry gets represented in these. There's an untitled Michael Lewis adaptation. There's also an Amazon Prime FTX drama, docu-series, mini-series, Graham Moore project, panoramic project, untitled New York Magazine documentary, SBF and the End of Silicon Valley, untitled XTR documentary, and a Decrypt Studios documentary in the works. And crap, I mean, if everybody's gonna do all this, maybe we need to put a Voskcoin documentary into the mix and equation here. We'll see. All I can say for sure is that you should subscribe to the Voskcoin YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. That's all I got today. See you on the next one. Remember, we need to survive.